Lexi, who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah, well, hi.
I am she.
Hi.
Just kidding. I'm Alexis Zolina. I'm a Las Vegas photographer who specializes in editorial, lifestyle, and couples photography.
Okay, I'm here with Alexis Zolina.
Yes, Alexis Zolina. Yes.
I'm here with Alexis Zolina, Las Vegas fashion photographer.
Yes.
Is that what you like to be called?
Yeah.
Part-time student. Soon to be full-time.
Actually, no. I'm a full-time student.
Full-time student. Full-time photographer. Part-time, soon to be transitioning out dental assistant.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at your Instagram. You have all these like fashion editorial type of photos, right? This is a gear channel, but we do talk about how are working photographers making it in specifically just in this crazy saturated industry, right? Everybody wants to be a photographer nowadays. You got the it job, media company, everybody wants to do that. So what was the biggest thing that sort of like took you back when you got into it as far as expectations?
Like coming into it, what were my expectations?
Like, what did you just think was like, I'm going to make all this money. We're going to be like, I don't know. Like, what were your expectations? For me, I was just surviving.
Yeah, no, I mean, I honestly had the expectation of not making a lot of money in the beginning. Like, I had the expectation of like, I'm just going to post, a couple photos from this little shoot I did, and let's just post on Instagram and see where it takes me. Not knowing whether or not people are even going to like my work, want to work with me. It was just like jumping in.
How much thought was this going into this?
Very minimally.
Nice.
I mean, as I've like mentioned before to you, I come from, healthcare medical background. Like I took 2 years of like being in biology and health science, that major. And so to make the jump of becoming like a visual media creative was really intimidating. And it was so almost like just unfamiliar to me. And so the expectations were set really low. Like I was
so you're just like, I'm jumping.
Yeah. I was like, we're just going to try this. If people don't want to book with me or whatever, at least I can still have a platform where my work can be showcased.
I should have also mentioned that you modeled for a little bit. And did that give you sort of more confidence going into it, knowing that you could pose people?
100%. Yeah. Because with freelance modeling, it was just really nice to be able to have that under my belt. And primarily I work with women. And so it's like, I always say it's like my secret talent to turn like, into like average Joes into models. And yeah, it's just really fun to be able to help people get out of their shell.
You had mentioned one time you like the feeling of making people feel good by their photos. Like explain that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's highly intimidating to be in front of a camera, let alone like it's just you and me in a studio and I'm just like, okay, like I'm just taking your pictures. And so to watch the development over like just an hour session, let alone a 30-minute session, like seeing the client like really kind of like shy and coy, and then, 15 minutes in, they're like really feeling themselves and I'm showing them, fresh out of the camera, kind of like what everything's looking like. And they're like, oh my God, like that's me. And I'm like, that's you. And to be able to bring that out in people is just a really beautiful thing. So.
What do you like better, being behind the lens or in front of the lens?
I would say both, but definitely it's shifted to being behind the camera. There's so much more you can do.
Okay, so how long have you been doing it, photography?
Professionally, 1.5 years, but I've always like dabbled though in high school, like just taking pictures of friends. Like I've always been known to like have a camera or just always taking pictures, like very prevalent in the Tumblr era and Visco era when it was like booming.
What was your first camera?
A Nikon Coolpix.
Wow.
It's like a non-interchangeable lens, DSLR, nothing crazy. Yeah, that was my first camera.
So this is a little bit of a gear channel. What do you shoot on? I know you're a Canon person. We're very rare, by the way. Everybody's Sony.
Yeah.
Canon person. We got Canon here. We're waiting for that sponsorship too. That'd be great.
We're waiting. Come on, Canon.
So you do an RP?
Yeah, so I have a
Canon RP?
Yeah, Canon EOS RP, and then
Which is an older camera.
It
This
is,
is like an R, and everyone still kind of knocks me, but
I think it's great. It's
Yeah.
full frame. Yeah, a lot of like the specs are great. So I like it. It's a
Yeah.
great starter, like beginner camera or intermediate.
what about lens choices?
Lenses, I have 2 prime lenses. I have a little nifty 50 and I have a 35. The Canon, they're for the
RF,
R's.
yeah.
Yeah, RF.
Yep.
Not EF. And then I just bought a Sigma 24 to 70 mil and it is
24 to
just
70.
amazing.
They're beefy, but they're like
Oh my
awesome.
God, on my
That's
neck it's like,
this is a Sigma on you right now.
yeah.
It's like a 1.8.
It's stunning.
And Sigma's super affordable too.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it was like $1,300 for my lens, maybe a little bit under, like $1,200. And it was all well worth it, in my opinion.
How much of a learning curve was it to go into the professional space as far as like the gear?
Honestly, it wasn't much of a change just because, I mean, I'm going to school right now for photography. So I have, 3 photography classes under my belt. So it wasn't really like much of a change, I would say. I think it was just more so like diving into like editing was the learning curve.
You do a lot of like sort of like fashion style photos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that just something you like to do?
Yeah, I would say that is my passion and my niche when it comes down to categorizing like which category I love to shoot. I mean, I shoot obviously everything and anything, but if I could just do fashion photography, editorial photography forever, like that would be my main.
Like even this one is pretty cool because it's a graduation photo, but it's like
yes, shout out my girl Liv. Yeah, that was really fun. That was really her mom. It was her hand and then her mom's hand, and her mom literally was ducking down to replicate like 2 hands. And yeah, that one was really fun. And my lighting setup has even changed so much too. Even just
this is an older
that.
one, huh? 2003. Let's go to a new one.
Yeah,
How do you get
crazy.
your clients?
Mainly through Instagram and referral.
Whoa, this one's sick. What is this?
Let me see. Oh, yeah. So
that.
Anthony and I were doing a Bridgerton inspired Halloween look. This was his Halloween costume. And yeah, that was one of my favorites. I love playing with textures and just really brightening colors here and there. But that one was just so fun. He literally had his friend, that wig was completely handmade by his friend. And
Very
Anthony
cool.
like completely curated his own outfit. He's very like fashionable. So it was just the best. Yeah.
And then this is you. I like that you also promote yourself in your videos because I want to talk a little bit about that. Actually marketing yourself and like promoting your own brand. How important is that in this business?
So prevalent.
Yeah.
You see a lot of photographers who don't market themselves. You don't even know what they look like. Like some
know.
people's profile pictures aren't even themselves. Like not everybody, but
Or it's
I've
like
seen
some obscure logo or
Yeah,
weird like
and it's like
generic icon for cameras, and I'm like, what? Nobody knows who you are.
you have no idea. You have
Yeah.
no idea, and maybe they like to be hidden in a sense. I don't know, but personally, from my experience, I think it's so important that your clients know what you look like, and then obviously like have that sense of like who you are through the photos you post, especially like of yourself if you do that.
Well, it was something you just did before we started was you sent a picture of yourself to your client. And so I think that's super important because when we do a lot of marketing videos, we do like video text. And so in this day and age, like you have to be in front of the camera. I always tell my clients because I coach a lot of brands and businesses, and I'm like, you have to be in front of the camera. It's like founder based now. You know?
Exactly.
You have to like, people want to see, or people want to do business with people they kind of identify with. And you have sort of that great energy and personality. So I think that really I think you're going to do like amazing in the next few years. Like I just imagine you being on Vogue or something, like doing.
That's the dream.
Yeah. Is that the
literally
dream? Like
yes,
editorial, scene photography, like storytelling, like all that cool,
100%.
like composition and stuff like that. I can see that.
Yeah, one day. I'm manifesting like one day. I don't care like how silly it may sound, but like I will one day be in a magazine.
So, okay, so that's the branding and marketing part. This is going to be the boring part, but I think people like to hear this on the channel is what is your workflow like? What tools do you use for your business? Like, do you use an invoicing system? Do you use Google Calendar? Do you use Monday? What are those tools like?
So I use Pixaset, which is an application made for photographers. And so I pay for a package that includes...
Pixaset.
Yeah, so Pixi.
Is that your scheduling? How
It's
you book
everything.
you?
It's client galleries. So sending proofs and then sending final galleries. I have a store where people can buy prints, my website, what else? My booking and invoicing, payments, all that, all in one.
Yeah, when I click your booking, it goes to Pixaset. That's what that is. And then you have packages. How did you go about making your packages?
God, that's the one thing no one tells you about when you're starting your photography career is what you should be setting your rates at.
We should talk about that.
Yeah. God, no one tells you about that. And so going into it, I literally was like charging like $70 a shoot because it's like...
Is that cheap? I don't know what photography goes for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. When you're just starting out, like I remember my first client was a junior homecoming group from my old high school. And it was just like, I think I only made like $100 or something like that, maybe like 120. And even so, that was like score.
So
like that was
your
amazing.
First $120 from photography.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember I was just shooting like my coworker's baby's first birthday, and I think she only paid me like $50. And you know, it's just like these little jobs, but it was like, oh my God, I'm making money.
Are you teaming up with makeup? What are they called?
Makeup artists? MUAs.
Makeup artists.
Yeah, MUAs.
Yeah.
I worked with
MUAs?
MUA, so a makeup artist.
Okay.
That's like their official title. It's like MUA.
Okay.
I've worked with numerous MUAs. A lot of the time clients will do their own makeup, but for instance, like here, this was actually makeup done by Kat Young. She's really amazing. But yeah, I mean, it just depends. A lot of clients will do their own, or we'll work with, makeup artists.
How do you decide on, this is a loaded question, okay?
Okay,
How do you
I'm
decide
ready.
on background, wardrobe? Like are you making this up on the fly? Do you have the luxury to do pre-production, or are you just like flying by the seat of your pants?
Do you mean like in regards to like my shoots that I curate myself?
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's all me.
That's
for
all
sure.
you.
Yeah,
so you'll do
100%.
sort of the creative direction, basically.
100, yeah.
Nice. How does that look for you? Like, do they call you? You talk on the phone, or you're just texting? Like, how are you communicating with your clients in that sense for these like real? Because they're a little like okay, look, you have props, right? So you can't just like, I'm gonna go do this tomorrow because how many?
That was on the fly. That was literally day of.
So you just have props here.
Yeah, so at Spacecraft.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's
the
right.
owner, Noel, I told you he's a prop master, and he, will let me utilize some of his props here and there. And this was me. The prompt was like office siren / like hot businesswoman, busy at the office. And so
She should be working.
She
but
should be
she's
working.
Just too busy on the floor with some phones and some analog computer TVs.
Yeah, I just literally compiled all like this like random office supplies. I didn't have a desk, so I think I really was just improvised with the floor because we didn't have any table of some sort that like fit the aesthetic of what I was going for.
This sounds cool.
Thank you. Yeah, we used a fan for that shot.
Because it's all composition. If you think about everything, it's just creative composition and decision making, right? I guess when you're taking photos, how important is that part, the composition and the lighting and all that stuff besides the gear? Like, is it all just happening all at once? Like microprocessing? You're just like, boom, this is what we're doing. And is it just muscle memory, or do you have your go-tos? Like, how is your thought process in that sort of space?
Honestly, everything feels just very muscle memory at this point, but a lot of things are just on the fly. Like you figure out what works for you during the session. If you're like, you're looking back, like I always look back, I'll take like a second and I'm just looking through like, does the lighting look good? Like I really look through the lens and like see everything, It's just, I think it just depends like on the fly.
How do you know when you've got the shot?
Oh, when you got the shot. You're
It's like a feeling.
Oh, I got the shot.
It's like a feeling, right?
Oh
It's
my
like,
God, yeah.
Yes, this is cool, right?
And
Let's
I'm
move
so
on.
expressive during my shoots. Like I very much think out loud, and I'm just like, that's the shot.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I show them, and they're like, oh,
let's even touch on that. Some photographers, and I do this too, I show my clients behind the lens as it's happening. And some people don't do that. I've been around photographers that are just snapping away and the client's just like wondering if they're doing a good job.
They're just standing there like.
Yes. Well, I think, so let's touch on that. And usually they don't teach this in school either. And I think it's just more of a gift and it's in you versus not being in you. The client service part, the actual client relationship that you have and not business stuff like offering, I forgot to offer you water today, but offering water.
Yes.
Making sure the room is like the right temperature, like communication and texting that you're on your way. Or even saying, hey, I'm busy right now. I can't get to you because I'm in the middle of a shoot. And some people won't do that. You know, I don't know if they teach that in school, but
no,
they don't, right?
No, I mean, I've taken like 3 photography classes, like no shame in that, obviously, like no shame, but you know, that's something they don't teach in schools, like just the common courtesy etiquette.
It's client services at the end of the day. Yeah. It's like, that's what gets you the referral. Like your pictures can be badass, but if you weren't nice on the shoot, they're never going to come back.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? The same thing goes for like working with models as well, though. You know, if you didn't have a good experience and, you know, they may want to come back and they weren't like the nicest of individuals, you know, on set, I have the right to refuse service to you because at the end of the day, like it's all about just like common courtesy and being a good human, you know.
Have you ever had any nightmare shoots?
Yes.
What was it? Can you share it?
I don't know if I can.
Okay, don't share it then. So what have you learned a whole year and a half of being a professional, and what can you tell the audience what not to do? Like, what was your biggest mistake?
I mean, what not to do, I feel like in the beginning is to not to have high expectations. I don't feel like you should have these super high expectations, especially when you're just starting out with this form of, you know, medium with photography. There's just so many learning curves going into it, just like any other art. I feel like just
kind of be a student and learn.
Yes, you should be very open to learning because, like I said, the learning curve is very strong. Like just looking at where I was a year and a half ago to now is like already exponential, and like a year and a half is not a very long time. So,
and I'm sure you'll look back next year and be like, whoa,
oh my God, yeah,
those were my shots.
It's this constant like growth always. You know, I think you should never be like stagnant. I think you should just always be open to learning more.
Okay, last question. What is your favorite photo so far here?
Oh God, that's a hard one.
That's like asking somebody what's your favorite song.
Oh my God, don't ask me that either. Oh my gosh. Oh wait, I know my favorite.
Oh, go ahead.
I know my favorite. Okay. My favorite photo is this one. You know what's funny is that was for a class project for my photography 2 class, and this I would say is literally when I fell in love with editorial photography and playing with lighting. This lighting is called a badger setup. So you put 2 softboxes behind the client on both the right and the left side, creating that like badger lighting.
Yeah, it's sick.
On her forehead, it's like a V, like a badger head.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
that's like something I did learn in school. And this is the start of my career. This is a picture right here.
This is so fun. We're going to have a part 2 maybe in spacecraft. Lexi, where can they find you? Look at that camera.
Yes. Wait, like find me like my @
Sure, whatever.
Okay. I would
go promote yourself.
You can find me on Instagram at alexiszolina.photo, or you can find me capturing inside of Spacecraft Studios here in downtown Las Vegas.